Hey, what's up, guys? Checker here. Holy shit! I just really wow. Oh my god! Everywhere I go, I just see everyone just falling on the ground for no reason. That's weird. But I don't know. Anyways, hello everybody. My name's Checker. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Couch Racing Chronicles. We just got back from Watkins Glen. A interesting, week overall. So obviously, I'm not alone for this, as I got my wonderful hosts, co-hosts, you could say. So, without further ado, let's go introduce everybody else on this journey for this road course. So, let's see who else is here.
James is here, coming off a great weekend in Watkins Glen.
This is Channy, coming off a surprisingly short Watkins Glen.
This is Sunny. We're coming off, wow, it's good to know y'all had good weekends. I wish I knew what that was like. Anyways, welcome to Couch Racing Chronicles, episode 12, I believe. And, of course, recording for us is our wonderful dear friend Iso. We thank you for all of her support. And we're going to get ready to dive right into this Watkins Glen weekend. So, starting off with our weekend recaps, who would like to go first? I'm sure we all have a lot to talk about.
Good question. Who wants to go first, actually? That's a great question. I guess I'll just knock myself out since I guess we've had a very interesting weekend. Let's see. Honestly, Christopher Bell, very, very good, day. Not the win. We wanted to win, of course. But, the power of Shane Van Gisbergen and his road course magic. Overall, I think it was a great day for the 20 team. Overall, we also did really good with Bell and Trucks. Finished fourth there. Good day for Blaney. Overall, we're good. Recovery and all that. And then Brad and just Nemechek sinking. The usual. Sixth place with Allgaier and all that. But overall, I'd say Watkins was okay, I guess week. It's just been a wild ride. Trucks was just, yeah. And XFINITY was also, yeah. And then the Cup was just, okay. That just happened. But I'd say my weekend was okay overall.
Yeah, we're on the same sentiments. The Cup race for us, it looked like we had a car that could really have good points day and possibly good strategy, and then we got wrecked during the final stage. So that's pretty much the theme of Kyle Busch's RCR tenure. You take something good, you bait on for a bit, and then you rip it out of his hands, and then he tumbles down to the ground dead. So, unless we get a magical good car at Richmond, it's Daytona or bust for us. So, but I'll tell you, I had a good weekend. James, it looked like you and the Trackhouse guys got top 10.
Yeah, finally Suarez in another top 10. His first one since May at Texas. And it's been a rough season for him out and for us Suarez fans. And overall, Trackhouse, great day. First time in team history, all three cars in the top 10, with, yet again, Shane Van Gisbergen winning.
Yep, of course. We got Mr. SBG on another road course. All the Trackhouse guys, I can safe to say, very big success at the Glen. And finally, we took it over to you, Chandler. Couldn't quite go back-to-back, but Byron has a big chunk in the points lead. So, how are you feeling these last two races of the regular season?
Honestly, I think these past two races have been okay for Mr. William Byron and also for Ryan Preece. We got a top 5 with William Byron, which I'm happy about that. And I also got a shout out AJ because Chris Buescher, top 3.
Obviously, RK is trying to make very big pushes in the bubble battle, and since we're gonna go into mentioning, actually, no, I'll save the bubble battle for near the end of the show. That'll be more appropriate. But what I am going to talk about, however, is the scare we had on Saturday with Connor Zillisch. So, for those who are probably out of the loop, on Saturday in Victory Lane, when Connor Zillisch was climbing out of his car during the celebration. His leg got caught in the cockpits, and then he took a fell forward and about hit his head on the concrete. We are thankful to update that he has been treated. All it was a broken collarbone, and I believe he had surgery, or he's planning on going for surgery for it. I believe it is the former, but it's just I want to hear from you guys. It's just really I'm trying to think of how to word this. It's just even getting out of the car. It's just you just don't think of this as a big scare. But when you see it happen live, when you think it's out of your realm of possibility, something like that can happen, and it can turn a really high day into something really scary and kind of change the whole mood. But I'm pretty sure all of you can agree that we're really thankful that Connor is out and okay with nothing too serious.
Yeah.
It's unscathed, just very unscathed, and a scary moment for Connor out there. That was a nasty, hit overall. God bless him. God bless those Mags and all that for going right to Connor immediately. It was just a very hard thing to watch, and of course we're not going to obviously share any videos or time during the editing of this video, obviously for personal reasons, and we obviously don't want to show it. But besides all that, I want to kind of drag this out just a little bit. This is actually about Connor, about the injury and all that. The question is, I have to say, is like with Connor, thankfully just a broken collarbone. This also kind of gives, I feel like, damages up the possibility. Do you think this also kind of affects the way he's going right into the playoffs? Because the playoffs are literally a few weeks away, and the question is Connor ready? You think Connor be ready to go fully into the playoffs? Because Daytona is literally next weekend. The question is do you think this injury, this collarbone thing, collarbone injury, this incident, you think this will kind of affect, his game, basically his mental game and his physical game going into the playoffs?
Well, you see, that's a very interesting question, because in order to fully answer that, I have to go back to Talladega, because this isn't the first injury he's been dealing with this season. Because at Talladega, he suffered a back injury, and he missed one race at Texas, but then he came out roaring. I don't think he finished outside the top 5 once. And then he got 4 or 5 wins throughout that stretch of time. So, but it'll be interesting to see, because the collarbone is a very different injury compared to the back. So there might be some differentiations and just the differences on how he performs or drives. But for the most part, Connor's a very resilient kid, and if this ends up, if he could just kind of put this in the rearview mirror, just readjust himself, just recuperate the way he drives into what he needs to do, then I think he'll be okay. I don't think he'll be godly consistent right off the bat, but if he ends up doing that, then hell, I'll be happy for him.
Yeah. Now here's another question. With the extent of Connor just suffering this recent collarbone injury, do you think he's going to be able to make it on time? For the upcoming Daytona race next week. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that in the scenario that if Connor can make it, but they don't want to risk him running the full race, then I think what they can do is they could have him start the car at Daytona, and then during a caution or stage break, he could pull down pit road, and they can get a relief driver to fill in for the rest of the way. So that way, even if Connor isn't doing the full races, he'll still get the points awarded for whatever the relief driver does. I think that would be the best strategy. at least for the regular season, and then in the playoffs, if Connor's like fully ready to go, you put him in there and see what happens. So the driver's health is really the best thing to put first in this scenario, and just ensuring what you can, just making sure he doesn't get any more banged up the rest of the way.
All right. Anyone else have an opinion on this about Connor's, it's like, fall scare, or like, the scenario of him in the playoffs and all that? Like, does anyone else have their opinion on this before we talk about another topic?
I do. I want to go on and say that it's pretty much widely expected that he's going to replace Suarez next year in Cup, and it's one of those things you got to take that into consideration as well. You don't want to rush him and potentially worsen it, and he's still got a long future ahead of him in the Cup Series. You don't want to risk that, and that's one of those things. We'll track house for a stat by letting him run.
Yeah, just a lot of things you gotta consider. Just I talked about how I don't want Connor to be overrushed, but this kind of thing just kind of only heightens my worries, because now that an actual injury is in play, I want to feel like he has to hurry himself up to go and race for a Cup. I want to see him be able to take his time and get himself fully recovered.
Yeah. Actually, Jay, do you have a matter in the opinion on this whole thing, or do you think that you basically heard everything and basically agree with all of us?
I basically, I heard everything, and I agree on everything. But one thing I will share though is when Sonny mentioned the surgery thing, Connor posted a tweet like 2 days ago saying, "Wanted to give everyone a quick update. Had surgery on my collarbone this morning to get a plate and screws to help with the healing process. Been a tough few days for me mentally, but all the love you guys have shown has certainly helped. Thank you."
All right, so this surgery has been done. So again,
Yes.
we are very utmost grateful of Connor's health and well-being, and we wish him the best moving forward.
And we wish Mr. Connor Zillisch a speedy recovery throughout all this.
Yep.
I guess I was going to say, sorry, if I may, real quick, before we start before we get back to another Connor Zillisch topic, we got to talk about a recent news that just came into just recently this afternoon. Like, this news just came in recently about another injury, from this time for the Craftsman Truck Series. McAnally's Jack Wood just got pulled out of the race. The 91 team just got pulled out of the race due to Jack Wood having an injury from Watkins Glen, and will not compete this Friday at the truck race for Richmond. We don't obviously know what the extent of the injury is, but I actually wanted to get your guys' opinion on that, especially Sonny. What are your thoughts on Jack Wood's sudden injury and just the 91 team just withdrawing from this race?
Honestly, to me, I think they saw kind of what happened with Connor, and they don't want to take any risks. So, really good on their part to not put Jack Wood and injure Jack Wood into the race at Richmond. And I think this and Connor's fall, and just I think all this just kind of proves to a testament of these drivers. These drivers are just a lot more than just guys who turn left. Like, they're still athletes in their own way. They're putting work and body on the line. They're racing at high speeds, and they're going to get to all these different crashes. Sometimes stuff like this comes out, and it just kind of shows the nature of what they're putting through. So, obviously, I'm not going to speculate on Jack Wood's injury. I will simply hope him the best on a speedy recovery of what he's dealing through. And really good on McAnally not putting him on the line when he doesn't need to. So that's my thoughts. If anyone else wants to chip in or has their opinion to share.
I absolutely agree on that. That you don't want to risk it. Absolutely, and it's one of those things. Yeah, it sucks for the team and the driver and stuff, but it's like well-being's got to come first. I think everyone on the team probably understands that. So, and I wish Jack a speedy recovery from whatever is wrong with him.
All right. Checker, Chandy?
I basically said what I said, honestly. I prayers out to Jack Wood. Say I hope he gets better. I don't know what the extent injury is, but I hope that team he gets better for his well-being. Smart decision by the 91 team and McAnally Racing. So I really have nothing else to say except Godspeed.
I also have nothing else to say, but speedy recovery for Jack Wood.
Alright, so that's alright, so next topic of the intro, we're gonna talk about a specific moment during late in the Xfinity race that could catch some eyebrows. So with about 22 laps to go, Connor and SBG were fighting for the lead going into turn 6 and 7. Going into turn 6, I think Connor was on the outside SBG, and then he went wide off track. And SBG was riding close to him, and since Connor doesn't want to be in the grass or off track entering turn 7, he tries to go up. But then he makes contact with the right rear of SBG, and then SBG goes around it, smacks the wall pretty good. Like you could hear it if you watch the replay. But yeah, the question is, did Connor wreck SBG or go in with the intention of wrecking SBG? I'm just gonna make this brief. I don't think there was not really any malicious or harmful stuff going on. This is just kind of this is just really a racing incident that's just kind of a mistimed move by Connor sliding it to SBG, but he wasn't just going to wreck anyone like that, let alone his teammates. So I'll hear from you guys, though, what you think of this matter.
So basically, I didn't get to see I see a few clips, I see a few clips, on Twitter, watching over that. I don't think that it was on, obviously, malicious or intent or, on purpose. It was just, hard racing over there at the road courses for Connor and SVG, because honestly, they've had some pretty damn good battles, every time they've raced on road courses together, and it's really impressive. But I just think it was miscalculated and mistimed, obviously, so I'm not going to say too much on it, but I think realistically, though, it's just how the racing went, for that road course just around. So I really have no other words to say except I think it was just, pure racing.
Yeah, that's basically the sentiment we both have. Checker James wants to step in.
Checker already went.
Oh, I am so sorry, Channy. Channy and James.
You're all good. I didn't get to see any of the clips, so I got nothing to say.
Fair enough. So James, do you want to put your input on this topic?
I will. I think I agree. I think it's a racing incident. It's one of those things. Connor was easily the fastest guy all day Saturday, and everyone knew that, including Shane. And you can't fault Shane for being that aggressive on the defense, trying to stay ahead, trying to win. It just didn't work out in the end for him. And I'm glad Shane was alright, because that was a vicious hit he took to the wall.
Yeah, thankfully, both Connor and SBG walk away from this weekend safe and sound. So, last topic of the intro before we get into our green flag, red flag. This one, the way I asked this is not out of just anger or frustration, but simply just genuine wonder. After the chaos we had last year in the Cup race, and especially considering the weekend led up to it, I think we're all safely wondering how come the Cup race was the most tame out of all of the weekends. Because, you would expect a lot of chaos to happen, but it was fairly clean and standard for the most part.
Yeah, we during the race, we only had one caution, and that was it.
Yeah, that was for the Josh Berry spit. That was for the Josh Berry wreck. So, it's just really interesting because in a track where you would expect a lot of chaos, we ended up getting a fairly clean race. So, which is, after considering everything we've been through, I'll take it. I'll take any day that everyone gets to walk away safe and sound. So, that's just really much it. We had the race. There was
couple of incidents then and there, but really, it looks like everything was just happening on pit road or strategy. So
Yeah, but all in all, Watkins Glen, the Cup race was actually very clean.
aside from the truck race, but that's the truck race. So why would I expect the truck race to be clean?
Yeah, for real. Like the truck race was just. I heard that like the truck race is like probably the worst. Like I wouldn't say like the worst, but like it was like the most like chaotic, part of the weekend. Besides, the Xfinity stuff that a certain individual, but we won't get into that until we get to grief like red flag. But
just to quickly put this into perspective of how bad the truck race was, we were one caution away from not even being able to finish because darkness was coming.
yeah, it took like what 3 overtimes, I think, from what I heard. But yeah. I think overall, I actually think it's like a change of pace, So it's a change of pace for the Cup Series. Honestly, that was probably the most tame road course race I've seen in like a good while. Actually, so far on the 2025 schedule, by far. But still got the Roval coming up. Still got the Charlotte Roval. But besides all that, I think Watkins Glen. Honestly, it's a fresh breath of air. Honestly, something like finally. We can actually understand, and finally enjoy. That's actually calm and tame. And overall, I think that it's a great dynamic for road courses. It doesn't always have to be a shit show. No offense. Like, it doesn't not always. Every Cup race or any race in general does not have to be a shit show. We can have this calm sense of just like, oh, this is actually good to watch. But I think that Cup just proved that it doesn't matter if it has to be just calm or chaotic. You're always going to have some kind of, moment where it's like, man, I can't wait to watch this over and over again. So, overall, I think a calm Cup race at Watkins Glen is just like a fresh breeze, in my personal opinion.
All right. Well, unless anyone else wants to chip in, I think Jenny.
I'll go ahead if that's all right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead, James.
I mean, I just want to say, I've said it on Twitter a couple times. I was like, after what happened throughout the weekend leading up to the Cup race, I was all right with it being, boring, kind of thing. But I enjoyed watching it. I was just happy it was clean and everyone, there was no controversies during that race. I was just glad for that.
All right. Well, Jenny, you ready?
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Alright, so the first topic. Austin Hill triggers the big one with 9 laps to go in Saturday's Xfinity race involving 16 cars after contact with Michael McDowell. Austin fucking Hill. Ever since a couple of weeks ago, when he right hooked Eric Almirola, he's been a piece of shit. He's just been a super piece of shit, and I don't like that at all. And I've been looking at the chats in the in this server in the Xfinity chat, and some of you guys are right. He should have been parked after that. So I'm just immediately gonna wave I'm immediately gonna wave the black flag because what the hell? Sonny, do you have anything to say about this?
First, goddamn, I didn't expect that crash out. Okay, let's. All right. I know we have gripes over Austin Hill, but I'm gonna go over the incident by itself first. So, this was really the same straightaway the Connor SPG thing happened. So, coming out of turn 5, McDowell and Austin Hill are wide coming out of the bus stop and heading down the straightaway. So it's a very hard angle to decipher, but from the looks of it, there was contact, both of them trying to get off, and then it looked like this one's hard because there's no really definitive camera angle here. Oh, what's that?
Did you just get kidnapped by the aliens or something?
If he's gonna
I'm back.
push up there.
I'm back. Just cut out that silence in editing.
Are you good? You're good.
All right. So it was coming out of Heading down the straightaway, there was contacts, and from the looks of it, it looks like Hill had too much prep pushing going and got into McDowell. So it's not the full malicious. It's not full on malicious like it was at Indy, but at the same time, like, you're kind of teetering right on that edge. Like, you just got back in, and you're already leaning towards falling back in and getting suspended again. So I'm going yellow flag because on one hand, this is not malicious, but at the same time, like, you've been pushing it lately. So that's really all there is to say. At least my end, that is. Anyone else?
Okay. Well, I had a joke prepared. I guess you could say Austin Hill went bowling at the Glen. No, I don't think it was intentional. I'm gonna wait the red flag anyway, but I don't think it was intentional. And he said he didn't mean to do it on the radio when we talked to him afterwards. It was one of those things. Racing hard, I get it, but you can lift at that point. And I think he just trying to keep up with McDowell, trying to maybe keep any sliver of hope at maybe catching Connor. But I don't know. I mean, it looks bad, especially considering he's coming right off of Indy, the suspension from Indy.
I've been in the hearing on both sides. Like, on one side, like, he should be suspended after that, and he should not be suspended after that. Like, after the Watkins Glen big one. I can't determine how I really feel, so I'm yellow flag on the situation. I'm like in the middle between all this because I get it. I get NASCAR's, like how NASCAR feels, kind of a little, trying to just protect up the field, and all that. But are you sure where we're at? Are you sure? Are you sure we're at Watkins Glen? Or are we at Talladega? Because a big one at Watkins Glen, that's something I don't hear every day. But for watching races in the current era, I think the Austin Hill perspective, just overall, I don't think it's his fault, honestly. Like, the way it looked, but I get NASCAR's perspective on how they feel since the incident in Indianapolis. But overall, I think that the dynamic of the situation, I think it's just a racing incident where it was accidental and it was not really on purpose. It just everyone else could go, and he really didn't check up on him or try to attempt to hook him. So overall, I think I get NASCAR's, eyes and all that, watch over Austin Hill, and I get it, because we don't want, to set an example of, like, doing this type of racing every single time, especially after a suspension. But that's honestly how I perspective of yellow flag. But the question I have to ask, just a little bit of curiosity, is, like, with NASCAR, of course, watching over Austin Hill and all that, and kind of other perspective, like worry kind of with Austin Hill, especially after Indianapolis and with Watkins Glen now. Does NASCAR want to try to keep eyes and tabs on these moments, and just want to make sure to set an example of other drivers, not to try and do this type of shit in the near future? Or what do we think on this? I was just curious about this.
I think that would be pretty effective moving forward. Just kind of laying the hammer down on what you can or can't do on the track. So there's been a lot of examples with this, especially with the right hooks. So I just really want to see NASCAR just finally put their foot down when the line's been crossed. So they've been doing it well, but if it comes to one guy repeatedly doing this, then you gotta let them know. You gotta let them know that. So that I agree with that. All right, next topic.
All right, our next topic is: after Connor Zillisch's injury after falling in victory lane, Trackhouse Racing decides to withdraw the number 87 car on Saturday night after the XFINITY race. green flag, red flag. Let's go to James for this one.
I think green flag, and for multiple reasons. One, you can find that short notice. Two, I mean, I saw it, and I think this is the reason why. Red Bull is probably pretty strict on who they want representing them. So you can't take anyone that doesn't, drink Red Bull or whatever, or endorse them driving that car. Like I saw, maybe Love could replace him. Well, Love's sponsored by another energy drink, C4 Energy. I don't think Red Bull would like that. So it's one of those things. It makes sense, and I think it was the right decision.
I'll agree with you as well. I'm going green flag as well, simply because something like that of that nature, I don't think you can't really do anything. So like that's something out of your control. Plus, since this is like an open car, this is an open car, a part-time car, and you're not gaining for really anything in the owners' championship or going for 4 points. I think you save yourself the exhaustion of trying to find somebody to get that car. You could just withdraw it and save it for another time. So, I agree. Green flag.
Green flag as well. Obviously, good on their part. You can always draw the 87 back into another race, but the overall safety and concern of Connor Zillich's injuries definitely played a part in this as well, because it would have been a kind of a dumb idea to put the kid right back in the car right after, and I think they just didn't have. They probably did have enough time to find another driver, but I think the smart decision was them to withdraw, which is respectful, and I'm kind of glad the Trackhouse decided to do that. Instead of trying to either throw Connor back right in or just just finding another driver to replace. You can always just get somebody else to either race the 87 next time it comes into the entry list, or go have Connor race another later in the season with the Cup Series. Honestly, I'm just green flagging the situation. Good part on Trackhouse.
I basically heard everything that I needed to hear, and I'm basically going to say green flag on this whole entire situation. And speaking of Xfinity, not Xfinity, truck, my bad, multiple drivers in Friday's truck race had either a fuel pump issue or some sort of mechanical failure. I'm going to go to Sunny for this one.
This one's kind of plain cut and dry. Red flag. It's just very strange, but at the same time, it's also kind of unexpected. It's also kind of unsurprising in a way, because road courses are some of the harder tracks to handle mechanically wise, with all the turns and all the hills and the straightaways and all the etc. So though that many trucks is kind of a wowzer, because you could pass it off as nothing too much. Feels like a handful, but I don't know what the count was of who had what issue. I know Kyle had an issue very early in the race, and that sent us to last for the day. But it's one hand, it's road course racing, and you'll kind of have to work the truck around. But damn, that was a whole lot of guys that had issues. So red flag.
If anybody else wants to say anything, the floor is open.
All right, I will. Red flag. It sucks to see so many have issues, and one of them, probably more bigger name to have one. Chris Buescher had a fuel pump issue during the race, which basically ruined his Truck Series debut, which is a shame, because I think he would have been good in the race if not for that.
Red flag, obviously, just unfortunate for all those truck drivers and all the problems. Of course, especially like I said, big names come from different series as well. Trying to have a little fun in the series, have a little fun with that race, but it's unfortunate, with all those fuel pumps or just mechanical failures in general. It sucks, especially on a road course. It's a moment where it's just it's it sucks. But overall, I think the perplexity, that truck race kind of felt a little sour in my opinion, overall, at Watkins Glen. But you know what? it's not always going to be a fairly, good race every time. So obviously, I'm not going to obviously drag this out for too long. So red flag on the situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna be red flag on this entire situation as well. I also apologize if I'm like not talking as much during these green flag red flag moments for the audience. All right. Our next topic. I wish AJ was here because this would have been directed towards him, but this topic is Dale Earnhardt Jr. said on his podcast, the Dale Jr. Download, on Tuesday that, in his opinion, that overtime restarts should be removed from the Xfinity and Craftsman Truck Series entirely. Green flag, red flag, checker.
So the funny thing is, hello there, day free March. Anyways, I'm sorry. The funny thing is about this is like it's like I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I'm a little short on my memory on this topic, so bear with me on this. Obviously, I think I'm kind of in the middle, like yellow flag, because like obviously overtime is a pain in the ass. I think everyone can agree overtime is a pain in the ass, especially in the current era.
Mm-hmm.
But I get the perplexion, try to move it, but the question is what is the solution? What is the solution to fix this issue? Because we can't obviously keep doing this for a while. Of course, NASCAR thinks differently because, well, I'm obviously not NASCAR and I don't speak about it, about it, but I'm not obviously fully aware of the whole topic on the situation, but I'm in the middle and say yellow flag. I think on one side, overtime is kind of necessary, but also overtime is kind of just needed out of the lower series. But I actually want to get to somebody a little better, like either Sonny or James, to see what kind of solution we can come up with if overtime was indeed removed, and if overtime should be removed from like the Xfinity and Truck Series right now.
This is a very interesting one. So, on one hand, I believe a race should have the freedom of finishing under green because, especially if you have like a very big build going towards the finish, like you have a close battle for the lead or strategies playing out, and then a caution comes out, and then you can't get the race restarted, and you enter yellow. So it would seem a bit sour for those trying to go for the win, and I think there should be a freedom of being able to finish under green, having a couple more shots at it. But then on the other hand, a lot of people race like animals when overtime is mentioned because people get desperate and then cars start wrecking each other and then good cars get junked and then a lot of teams will have to pay for those damages, and it's really too much. Overtimes can just derail your whole day. Like a shot or win, you'll end up in like 27th or something. So like I think beforehand, like pre overtime line. God, if you remember that, then you'll help.
I hated the overtime line. Oh my goodness, that was so stupid.
Why couldn't it have just been the start finish line? Why did it need to be like this damn line down the back straightaway? I think pre 2016, the 3 green white checker rule was a good precedent to have. And cup wise, so expanding in trucks, I'd say like between 1 or 3 attempts is my ideal. Though since it's the lower series, you kind of want to. I could understand if you want to aim it towards like 1, just so the fact you can get everyone out there quicker. But really, that's just my bit. Like, I want a race to be able to have the ability to finish green, but at the same time, I don't. If people need to chill out, you gotta take care of the car, and if they don't, then you get another Nashville 2024 or the Phoenix 2023 for the trucks. I am not opening up that can of worms tonight. So I'm going yellow flag on this.
Did James already go, or
No, I haven't said my point. I'm
All right, go ahead.
I don't like the fact. I don't like thinking that race is under yellow. And I mean, we've had our fair share of controversies already this year. Back at the beginning of the year at Daytona and Atlanta, with them for a completely different reason to them not throwing the caution or throwing it, and stuff like that. I think this is one of those things. I think it worked. The free attempts max rule worked. I don't know why we ever went away from that. Don't get me wrong. In a sense, I do like seeing chaos if it's every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, look, chaos. We haven't seen that in a little while. I'm okay with it. But when it's every week, then it's not good.
Yeah. Basically, I don't want my finishes to always be like constant Daytona or Talladegas. That's what Daytona and Talladega are for. Just those once in a while races where chaos happens, not freaking tracks like freaking Iowa or Martinsville or something.
For real.
All right. Anyone else? Did everyone go? Or
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm the last one.
I was like, Shady has something, but then I was gonna say after Shady, I do have a question. But I'll let you go first.
All right, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. I heard everything that needed to be said, and I'm gonna say yellow flag on this situation.
So here's my question. I'm not gonna try to drag this out for too long since we still got another topic to talk about. But I just want to get this question out of the way, especially with the suggestion of just overtime. It doesn't even have to be lower series; it also could be all free. If this is for like for like James and Sonny, in your personal opinions, if overtime got replaced, how would you try to solve the issue of, like, if you had to create your own version of overtime, like to basically try to improve all three series when it comes to an overtime scenario? What would you try to do, and how would it be executed? What would be like a simple solution to try to solve the overtime issue?
I don't really have anything that's new. I would simply just follow off what works before. So like for the lower series, you can kind of do like one shot or one attempt. You can just rack them up for 2 more laps, and then whatever happens, and you don't want to ruin too much of these guys' day. And then for Cup, you could try to do that classic 3 attempts rule, and then if they don't get it by on that 3rd attempt, you can just end the race under yellow there. So like it just really depends on how replaced is used here. If it's like used with a new format, or if it's just take it out entirely. But that's my perspective. I would have to see how replaced would be used in this scenario.
I wasn't sure if James had an opinion on this, or like what he would suggest, about an overtime change in his perspective.
Well, I'm going to say what I said before. I think the free attempts maximum worked. But I will say something else that probably could help. I feel like a lot of overtime races nowadays, especially, is NASCAR likes to waste laps under caution. And I think we all see that a lot. And I feel like that partly contributes to a lot of the overtime finishes. You get a late caution about 6 to go, they'll drag it out until it's overtime, when you easily could be shorter. Like, you can go with 3 to go or 2 to go in the allotted window. So it's like, yeah, max free attempts, but you also got to stop dragging out cautions, especially late in the race.
Yeah, exactly. It's just yeah, I can see why, because like you can have like a car just simply spin out. Like, he doesn't hit the wall, he doesn't hit anything, he doesn't put debris on the track. He just spins, he gets going, and then like that can happen with 6 to go, and NASCAR can roll rounds, and then the moment they hit like 2 to go, they'll say, "All right, we're gonna make this an overtime," and like the only like exception I see in that is like if someone directly spins with 2 to go, because then how would it not be an overtime? It's literally 2 to go. So,
well, like, stay like 3 to go. If it's caution 3 to go, then that's overtime.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a really good point. So I'm glad you brought up this question, Checker.
All right, ready to move on to our final topic of green flag, red flag, or do you guys need more time?
I'm ready to go if everyone else is.
Right.
I think I'm good to go. I think we covered all the bases on, the overtime and all that, but I think it's time to get to the most interesting and possibly the most controversial, because, we already know how it's going to be controversial when Chandy reads off this next green flag, red flag. So, go right ahead.
And that is Elton Sawyer, SVP of NASCAR, was also asked on SiriusXM NASCAR this morning about the performance of the next-gen car on the road courses, to which he said, I think we've got a product that is good, but as we said last week, we're always looking to make our product better. Okay, Triple H. Anyways, green flag, red flag, checker.
Oh, no, oh, God. I actually, for the first time, I'm gonna switch a little bit. I'm actually gonna give Sonny the floor on this one first, so I get his opinion first, because I actually want to hear his opinion first. So, Sonny, I'll let you go ahead first.
You can literally copy and paste word for word what I said on last week's episode, and nothing would change. I'll say it again, Elton Sawyer. I'll believe it when I fucking see it. Red flag for me, simply because I am tired of hearing this man go out every week and saying, well, the car is actually good. We're always looking to make it better. Then make it better, please. Do something. Don't sit on your ass and just pretend everything is fine when there's clear frustrations from the drivers, the teams, and the fans. You know there's a problem. Do something. God. Red flag.
James, do you have anything to say about it?
I'm going to agree with Sonny. I'll believe it when I see it. This car is not good. I mean, outside of Atlanta, it's not good. Heck, on the intermediates where it was good, it's starting to get worse because of dirty air. We've seen that at Vegas recently, and Kansas was pretty boring for a Kansas race. I think I remember seeing hey, we should be ready for a great race at Kansas this week, and it was just kind of boring. I don't remember anything from it. So it's this car was okay. And it's just getting worse and worse, and they're not really seems like they're doing anything. So yeah, I believe that you're actually continuing to better the product when you actually better the product.
Yep. Checker.
Oh, I heard, sorry, were you saying something before I begin?
Me and James went. It's your turn.
Okay, no, I first heard my foot clicked. Okay, my bad. Okay. This whole fucking thing with, the fucking next gen, it's terrible. It's a terrible fucking car. No offense. This is so fucking stupid. One day it could be consistent, but then dirty air, of course, fucks over the car when you try to get up front. Passing is kind of ass. Needs horsepower, but, believe it when we see that. Overall, I think the dynamic of the next gen, it's a great concept. It just needs an actual goddamn fix. Instead of fucking, going in and saying that you'll make the car better or make the product better, go do it then. Don't go hide and hide behind and say next few years saying, oh, we can make it better. Then just go out and do it. Fucking just go. I already have a headache trying to explain, in the mind of Elliot Sawyer, but it's Elliot Sawyer. It's Elton Sawyer. Oh my god, okay. I'm so fucking frustrated that I can't say his name right. Holy shit. So overall, I think the dynamic of the next gen, don't get me wrong, it's a good concept. It's just, it needs a lot of changes. It needs changes because I know they've made a lot of changes in the last few years since they first introduced the next gen, but it needs different it just needs a different mindset, a different relook over, because there are so many problems on each track because each track has its own issues: road courses, ovals, short tracks, super speedways. There's a lot of issues, but overall, like I said, instead of saying what do we need to do to make the product better, do something. Like don't go out there and say we're gonna make changes, then not do anything. That's just not worth it, in my opinion. God damn, red flag! Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm just gonna flat out say red flag.
Figured. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for green flag, red flag this week. And before we get into picks, I did mention I want to go over the bubble, the playoff bubble, before we go into our picks. So let's take a look at how the cutoff is looking. I will go through 14th and then mention the first four out. So at 14th, we have Tyler Reddick, who is 117 points above the cut line. 15th is Alex Bowman, who is 60 points below the above the cut line. And then the last guy on the good is Chris Buescher, 34 points above. Then we have Ryan Preece with 34 points below the cut line. Kyle Busch, who is 102 points below the cut line. And then everyone else down. Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger, Brad Keselowski, Carson Hocevar, Eric Jones, they are in must-win situations. So, with Richmond and Daytona coming up, I want to hear it from you guys. Who right now is in the best case or worst case scenario in which they need to go out and win either this weekend or next weekend? Who is a go time for right now, most especially?
In my personal take, I'm going to split this in two parts. I'll split this on the good side and then the bad side. So, the person I see, obviously on the good side, the scenario right now is Reddick. Reddick is, obviously, he's just chilling there. He's just up there with 117, but he's got to, keep focusing in. I think Reddick is a very solid choice, but Bowman's also somebody to watch out for because Bowman is somebody, if he, like I said, if he gets knocked out, like I said, if something happens at 48, this Sunday at Richmond, that could basically change up the complexion of the playoffs in a few races. Obviously, Chris Buescher obviously is another big one to watch out for, but overall, I'd have to keep my eye mostly on, like Buescher, Reddick. Those are my main two I'd keep eyes on carefully. Scenario-wise, outside, the complexion, obviously, Priest, he's definitely good, but he's definitely got to maintain himself. If Bobby can make a mistake, Priest has a chance, to try catch up. The first I worry about is obviously people like Kyle and Brad. Those are the main two. Are just like those two are like possible playoff contenders, but they're struggling. Like they are struggling to get their feet up there and their footing. But I think that's the scenario. Like Brad, if he cannot do something at Richmond, and same thing with Kyle, they have Daytona or they're sinking. Those are like the only things I could say. Those two I would definitely keep my eyes on. But Ryan Preece, definitely also watch our radar. That's just how I, say in my playoff bubble, how I'm looking in and out of the window.
Alrighty. Anyone else want to go? I know this is unscripted, but I figured with 2 races left of the regular season, now would be a good time to go into the final dive.
I think it's absolutely a good time. I'm looking at it. I feel like Reddick's basically clinched. He just needs to. I think a top 15 will clinch him basically next week because he's what 57 over Bowman. I'm thinking he's 117 compared to Bowman 60. So he's pretty much clinched. It's like unless he has a total catastrophic failure these final 2 races, he's in the playoffs.
Yeah, he would have to finish dead last like twice to miss it.
Yeah, and I think right now probably in the worst scenario situation is probably just the RFK racing team as a whole. Because you got Brad's been fast recently. He's in a must win. He'll go for it. And you got Priest and Buescher battling on the cut line. And it's like one of them's gonna be out, basically. At least one. You just don't know who.
Yeah. Channy?
I don't have anyone from the top of my head at the moment.
Fair enough. You can always just pick one driver that you feel has to go on. They need to go win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I had to pick someone off the playoff bubble to get their stuff together, I have to say I'm not sure if it's like I don't. Excuse me. Sorry. I think the one person that I see can try to get themselves like above the playoff, like above the cutoff line. It's got to be Kyle Busch.
Right.
I don't. I'm just saying I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I wish he got some more points.
I'll tell you this about Kyle Busch. Like Daytona, I don't care whatever. I don't care about what happened that night. I don't care if we lost to 34th in points. I don't care if we lost to Harrison fucking Burton of all people. The fact we were that close to winning, I wouldn't leave us out this year. I think we're due. I think we're finally due for something magical that Daytona weekend, or unless we get an Austin Dillon run at Richmond, just minus,
Yeah.
Can I throw in a certain someone that may be able to bust his whole playoff bracket open at Daytona?
Who?
Go ahead, right ahead.
Michael McDowell.
That's
Ooh,
true.
Bust
He's a
this
Daytona winner.
wide open. If the car doesn't break down on him in stage 1.
Right. You know what? I do have one question. I was gonna save this for next week's as we're building up to Daytona, but I think I'm gonna get. Obviously, this is actually a 2. Well, the other part I'll save for the next episode, but so maybe we'll discuss more of the playoffs next week as well, since it'll be Daytona, but with a downtime. But the question I have to ask is, if you're basically one of the playoff drivers below basically Kyle Busch, if you're basically from 19 all the way down, which driver is somebody to watch very closely, to basically try to go for that run and try to break off, and shock the playoff run, try to shake off the field, is there anybody in particular that we should watch on the radar below Priest and Kyle Busch, if anybody?
Hocevar, he's gonna do some stupid shit.
Oh, I was gonna say Hocevar, because I feel like Hocevar could be fast at both Richmond and Daytona. We don't know. Like Hocevar is fast at Richmond and trucks.
Honestly, my eye right now, my eye has been focusing in on obviously my eyes have been focused definitely on Brad. Brad can literally try to do something big. I don't know how it's gonna work, and how it's gonna tie in. I don't know what the cars will be like at Richmond, but I'm really curious. But Brad can literally pull the biggest move ever and try to shake out the playoffs. That's just my personal opinion.
These next 2 weeks, they're gonna be fun.
Yeah. Another one that could probably blow Spy open. If that's alright.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Eric Jones. Former Daytona winner. Legacy's been fast recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Yeah, but they have.
I definitely think you gotta watch Jones. I definitely think so.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really, anyone.
Channy, do you have it? Oh no, it's okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, really, anyone can bust this open. Even goddamn Cody Ware. Cody Ware can literally win Daytona.
I want to shoot myself.
We'll talk more. We'll talk more on the. Obviously, we'll talk about another part in a bit. Next episode, since we're getting up to Daytona, we'll talk more on the playoffs in a bit for you folks. But we'll save for that episode. Channy, is there anybody else? Is there anyone in your personal take below, Priest and Busch that you watch very carefully that could honestly shake up the playoffs going into Richmond, this week?
I think the only other person that I can see, I'm gonna go with Daniel Suarez.
I won't leave that out a possibility.
He's got more confidence than the actual Suarez fans. That's just how bad the season is.
Yeah. Honestly, Daniel can literally, do some kind of magic. Honestly, if the 99 team can be figured out carefully, and if they can have a good run, maybe. But it's basically sink or swim, for the 99 team overall this season. And it looks like Daytona took a shot.
Sorry. Sorry. I heard sink or swim, then it stinks.
Yeah. Personally, for me, I would go ahead.
With Suarez, you gotta remember, while he was fast at the Richmond summer race last year, that was mostly due to the option tire being there. That's where most of that speed came from. You gotta remember that. I don't know, and we're not gonna have that this time around. So, go on, Sonny.
Personally, I would love to see him get a win at either one of these two races again into the playoffs. Simply a big F off to those who are detracting him or those who are bugging him about losing his ride at where his career would go. I think just winning and getting into the playoffs like that, to get all three track cars in the playoffs, that would just Alright, well, now we can finally get into our Richmond picks.
Let's do it.
Alright, on behalf of our usual host AJ, I'll go ahead and read off his picks first. In the Truck Series, he picks Chandler Smith to win, and his dark horse will be Luke Fenhouse. Hope I'm saying the last name right. And then for the Cup Series, he will pick Joey Logano to win, and his dark horse will be John Hunter Nemechek. Checker, you're up next.
So, this is going to be kind of random. Well, truck-wise, it's going to be random, but I'm going to try to go as much as I can. For my truck pick, I'm going to pick Daniel Hemrick to have a shot at winning Richmond. I think there's something with that 19 we can honestly see happen, but we'll have to see how he does overall. My dark horse, I'm picking Corey LaJoie. There's got to be a chance. Come on, there's at least got to be a chance, with them recently, just saying that recently, just having the 77 just go out overall. I think Corey LaJoie can literally do something very special. Maybe a top 10 performance. We'll see. Maybe he'll crack a win. Finally. We'll talk about that when we get there. My picks to win for Cup. I'm going to pick Ryan Preece to win at Richmond Sunday. I think there's a chance that 60 can shock the world. I think 60 has some speed. He's consistent overall this season. I know there's a little bit of slumps in RFK is overall towards the end. But I think Ryan Preece has a little bit of spark in him left to keep going. My dark horse is going to be Carson Hocevar, even though I regret saying those words. But, I think Carson is basically somebody to definitely watch out for. I know his performance was kind of slumped lately, especially for the last few races. But I think Carson can really go out and try to prove what he can do overall. And I think Carson's going to be somebody definitely watching the field, going into Richmond.
Fair enough. I can see that. Alright, my picks are up next. For the Truck Series, I'm going with an absolute shocker, Corey Heim, for the 83rd time in a row. But my dark horse will be Caden Honeycutt in his first race in the 52 Toyota. I think he'll have an amazing... I low-key think he's going to have some sort of insanity run. He's going to have a deep playoff run with the 52 truck, simply because I think he'll be at something a bit more faster, more caliber. So I'm hoping for the best for him. And for the Cup Series, I'm going with Tyler Reddick to finally break that winless drought and lock himself into the playoffs. And my dark horse, RCR was somehow fast last year, so you know what? If it was Dylan last year, the Kyle Busch is my dark horse this year. We're gonna have a little bit of a bad qualifying run simply because we're in Group 1. But if we have a magical good car, I think we can pull something off. So let's see what happens. Moving on to Channy.
All right, my picks for truck. Give me Tyler Ankrum for the win.
All right.
And for my dark horse, give me Raja Karuth. And I honestly can't believe I'm saying these words. For my cup pick, give me Denny Hamlin.
I get why I get what you mean, but like Hamlin, realistically on this track, is really solid because it's home track. Denny's definitely somebody to watch Denny Hamlin's somebody to watch very goddamn carefully. He's gonna try to do as much as he can on his home track.
Because you gotta remember, he was like 3 seconds away from winning last year before Austin Dillon.
Mm-hmm. And for my Cup dark horse, give me Cole Custer.
I think we get a first-time truck winner. I think Giovanni Ruggiero will take his first career trucks victory at Richmond. I'm pretty sure he comes from late models, so he's got short tracks, and I've been thinking Richmond's gonna be his race to win for a little while now. But for my dark horse, he's very well at the pass, and he's coming off top 10 actually at Watkins Glen. Matt Mills on the Cup side. I think Christopher Bell picks up his 4th win on the year. Good short track fashion. Considering I did see he was actually pretty fast both races last year. And my dark horse, I mentioned him earlier, Mark Jones. He's been fast recently. That includes Jones, who recovered from restarting 30th outside top 30 at Watkins Glen the final restart. Finished 12th.
Alrighty. Well, on that note, that is going to do it for us. We hope you enjoy your Richmond weekends. Will we get out clean? Will we have controversy? Will an RCR car cause terrorism and be on NASCAR's most wanted list for the 2nd year in a row? We'll just have to find out this Saturday night, don't we?
This year will be Jesse Love's turn.
Alright, well, that's gonna do it. We thank you all for listening in, and on behalf of our host AJ, we sincerely wish you drink your fucking water. I am Sonny, signing out.
I am Channy signing out.
This is Checker. Sign off. We're off and away, and we're racing off to Richmond. See you very again. Next episode.
This is James signing off.